Hey, Todd. Hey, Todd, did you know I starred in a movie? It's a pretty good movie.
Was it a 90s TV show? I've seen it a million times, BoJack.
Shut up, Todd. No, I'm not talking about that, obviously. But I also starred in a movie about squirrels. I played a squirrel once.
But BoJack, you're a horse.
No, I'm not. Not in that movie. I'm a squirrel. Hello. I'm Sean. This is Tennelle. We've just watched
The Nut Job.
The Nut Job. And just
2014.
2014. Just so you know, we're probably going to be uploading this back to back in one video with our review of The Nut Job 2, which comes out later this week. So this is a two-part review. This is early in the week. We just watched The Nut Job. We're going to review it now. Mm-hmm. And then we'll come back immediately after watching The Nut Job 2 to tell you how we feel about that one as well.
Yes.
Just put it in one video instead of having to separate it out and stuff.
Yeah. And I'll probably also leave a timestamp in the description if you just want to skip ahead to the Nut Job 2 review. So there we go.
Go to that if you don't care about the first movie.
Yes, but this is The Nut Job, which neither of us has ever seen before.
Correct.
I was not looking forward to watching this.
I had heard not good things.
Yeah, it's like a lot of, reviewers and stuff that I respect quite a bit were saying, like, this movie is bad and, like, just really ugly and hateful. Like, it's just unpleasant to watch. And
I kind of get it.
And I get that. I did not.
I don't
maybe
feel
because
it was
my
worth
expectations were so low.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think this movie was that bad. Would I want to watch it again? No. Would I recommend it to people? No.
Probably not.
But it was not horrible.
Yeah.
It was
on par with.
It was not fine, but it was.
I would say it's on par with a lot of the movies we've seen this year.
Yeah, which is also probably why I'm like, no, we just watched Emoji Movie like a couple weeks ago, and
I would probably watch this over Emoji Movie.
Yeah, this was at least a bit more sincere.
Mm-hmm. I would honestly
in its badness rather than Emoji Movie.
Yeah, I would rank this similar to like Boss Baby.
No, Boss Baby is much better than this.
You think so?
Yeah, Boss Baby is at least a competently told story. That's true. Not okay. So much.
Yeah. Okay, I take it back.
Yeah, and Boss Baby at least has decent art direction.
Yeah.
Okay, so
what is the plot of this movie?
Also, wait.
Mm-hmm. No?
Another reason I'm gonna not be as harsh with this film is because it's not done by any major studio. It's mostly seems to be done by a fairly new, fairly small studio, from what I can tell. And it was co-produced in South Korea, which explained a lot after we finished watching the movie.
After we watched the movie, we looked up some quick facts and like, okay, things make more sense now.
Yeah, it doesn't excuse.
Yeah, it doesn't excuse a lot of the issues, but things make more sense.
Yeah. So this film was co-produced in South Korea, and I think what I read was it's one of the biggest budgeted animated films in South Korea. So
okay. It's a starting point?
It wasn't. My main point is that it was not produced by one of these big Hollywood studios
that know better.
Yeah, that know better. So I'm going to be a little bit more lenient with this. And also, the story was based off of a student short film, which I'm guessing is this person went on to then make this film too.
Yeah, I would guess they took their idea and just expanded upon it because, I mean, the name of the short was Surly.
Yeah.
The main character is Surly.
Squirrel.
Yeah. So, do we talk spoilers and non-spoilers? This movie came out 3 years ago.
And it's The Nut Job. How many people care about spoilers?
Probably not.
And I feel like with what we're going to talk about, we kind of need to talk about spoilers, so...
Yeah. So, there's not really going to be any spoilers or non-spoilers section.
Yeah, like, this is your spoiler warning. If for whatever reason you don't want to hear spoilers about the nut job, then you might want to leave. But
I would tell you to go watch it on Netflix, because it was on Netflix up until, like, I don't know, a month ago?
yeah, then it must have just gotten taken down.
They took it down, I'm assuming because the sequel's about to come out and they want people to go see that instead of just watching it on Netflix.
I guess.
So we had to rent it for money.
Anyway, though, quick plot synopsis here. Because
Okay.
I just want to get into the movie.
Okay, I'll do it real fast.
Yeah.
Surly is an outcast squirrel who's all about himself, and he's kind of mean to his friend mouse thing. And
Rat buddy.
Rat buddy, yeah, not mouse, rat. Rat buddy, and they live in a park, and then they get kicked out of the park by Liam Neeson, who plays a raccoon, and then they find a nut store that they break into and want to get all the nuts out, and eventually they do, but at the same time in a human story that is like a parallel story to what's going on in the animal world.
Yeah.
There's gangsters that are trying to steal from a bank, and then there's a lot of double crossing and bullshit like that in both stories, and eventually all the bad guys get caught, the good guys win, and the hero rides off into the sunset.
Yeah.
Give or take.
Yeah.
There's a redemption story. It works, I guess. I guess. Not really. I would have preferred him not have any character change. To be perfectly honest. So that's the plot. Mm-hmm. Super quick.
And to start off, I want to say, I think the ideas in this movie are pretty cool. Like the idea of having the human story of the bank robbers go along parallel to them trying to steal from this nut shop thing, like, that's really clever. They
don't
do
think
it really poorly.
Yeah, it's like it was not implemented well.
Yeah. There's so many ways they could have made this way more interesting. They could have, if they wanted to up, like, more of the comedic value of it, they could have made the humans much more similar to their animal counterparts.
Yeah.
Like, they could have made the girl, what's her, Lana?
Lana!
Something.
It is Lana, I think.
The girl who's the human counterpart for the squirrel, Andy.
Yeah.
Like, they could have made them look a lot of like.
Mm-hmm.
And they could have made, like, the boss guy look more like Surly. Like, there's just not enough parallels between the animal characters and the human characters, that the human characters feel really out of place.
Yeah. That's a very good way of putting this. I didn't realize this was, like, set in the past to begin with. I thought this was a modern day movie. But no, it's actually set in the past, which...
I guess.
Yeah. Past time. Because after I realized there's gangsters running around like gangsters would in the gangster times, and then I looked at, like, everything, and it's like, okay, actually...
It is.
The environment and the vehicles and everything actually fit that time period, so...
But what would have helped that is if they had, like, more establishing shots to show you, like, okay, here's the city, and, like, this is the time period we're in. You do kind of wait until you're halfway through the movie before you're like, okay, I guess because my brain has been told to notice these old-timey gangster people, I've now noticed that, you know, it's like, oh yes, this thing is old, and, like, these cars are older.
But it's really difficult to just go off of cars and stuff like that, and, like, the buildings and stuff, because, you know, in America there's a lot of towns that just still look like that.
Yeah.
We live in those towns in the country. It's like, so it's very difficult to say that, oh, this is supposed to be in, like, I don't know, the 60s or early 70s.
Right. And then about, like, a quarter through the movie, or even later, they finally kind of show establishing shots of the city, and it's definitely got a New York feel. Like, it's supposed to be Central Park is where all these animals are.
I guess.
But
I think
yet
it's just
again, there's
supposed to
just
be...
no establishing shots.
Yeah,
well,
I
and
think
then
it's just
like the
supposed to be,
raccoon is
like-
out by the ocean.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, I feel like it's somewhere in Uptown, Maine.
I know, right?
It just feels like it's obviously somewhere on the East Coast, Genera City townland. Because it's not a full-on city, it's just a large town.
But it definitely feels like it was modeled after New York, and then
That's
they just
very
took
possible.
liberties with it.
And again, if half-ish of the crew was from South Korea, they're probably just working off of what they have.
I mean, yeah, but still, establishing shots would have fixed these problems of having us
Be confused
be
for the first
pulled
half
out
of the movie.
because we're like, where are we? What time place is this taking?
When are
in?
we?
Yeah. Oh, what was I saying before all this? Like
I don't know.
Oh, the human to animal parallels. Okay, so they try to do it, and it's almost clever, but it's not because it never amounts to anything other than them getting the plot where it needs to go.
Yeah. It exists. I feel like if this was an idea that was being put on by a larger studio such as Pixar or DreamWorks, or even possibly Sony, but probably not, they would have fucked it up. Illumination would have made a terrible job at this. Anyways, that
I could believe without like if I didn't know who made this beforehand, if someone told me that Illumination made this film, I would have been like, yeah, sure, I believe that.
they would have done just as good of, or poor of job on it. Honestly, I feel like their plot would have been even more confused.
Well, yeah. Knowing Illumination, it couldn't have ended with any kind of moral. So take any kind of, like theming and character arcs and throw that out the garbage. So, this team already did better than some Hollywood studios do here today.
Yeah. And this video is going to get copyright claimed by Illumination just because we mentioned their name now. Because they just love us.
Oh, yeah.
But if this was done by like a larger, competent studio, I could see that the human parts of this would have taken a lot less focus, would have just been like background gags, and like hyper exaggerated to the point where the animals are the realistic characters, and the humans are like these over the top cartoony characters that just are doing all this stuff in the background, like. While characters in the foreground are doing things, in the background you just see the humans doing things in a similar fashion of what's going on.
Well, or on the flip side of it, you could see them in the background doing their own thing, and then like as the movie's progressing, with them being cut out of the movie, just being like background characters, like you still would have been able to establish them as like something's going on with the humans in the background and like what's going on, and then you figure out like they're trying to rob a bank, and oh wow, it's like it's similar to how like what's happening on screen with the animals. I
think that would have been a good way to go about it.
And then you could have had shots like you've seen this kind of shot before where like it's a shot that's focused on the animals and like two characters are interacting. Like you could see this happening in this movie where like Surly and Andy are talking to each other and they have some kind of argument, and then in the background of that shot the same thing is happening to their human counterparts where they're arguing and having like,
and you could even do them like where they're doing the same poses or very similar poses.
Right, like they're acting out the
you could just
exact
see it
same
happening.
thing.
It would have been interesting to have it go that route.
So, yeah, a lot of what this is going to be is just going to be critique on this film rather than us necessarily
We're not even like
getting angry or pointing out, what we liked about the film, because what I liked about the film is like very small.
It's like there was one joke that legitimately made me laugh. Just because it was timed perfectly. But other than that...
They tried to make a callback to that joke, too. Like,
and, the callbacks just keep falling flat. They do it multiple times. But the first time got me.
Yeah.
Because it was like a 1-2.
1-2 hit.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I could describe it.
Yeah.
It's like there's a cardinal that works for the raccoon, and they're fighting and stuff, and the squirrel hits a wall, and then the cardinal also hits the wall or post, I guess, and then he flies off, and he's like, "Yaha! You didn't get me. I'm gonna get away," and then boom, he gets hit by a truck. It's like, okay, that was actually pretty funny.
That was well timed.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about some of the animation, I
Okay.
think, for a little bit. So, the animation in this film isn't great.
Uh-huh.
It's pretty bad. But yet again, smaller studio, I'm not gonna rag on them too much. But there's also a big noticeable dip in quality from character to character. Like, some characters are animated fairly well.
Mm-hmm.
And then others are animated really badly.
Really poorly, and they're right next to each other in the same scene.
Yeah.
Like, the female human, Lana, she's animated poorly the whole time.
She, like, barely makes any facial expressions.
Barely any facial expression. She doesn't move a whole lot, which is very strange next to, like, 3 of the 4 human characters who are all, like,
Really animated.
Really animated, over the top, exaggerated features, stuff like that. And the 4th human guy who doesn't speak and he barely moves, but he's like supposed to be this dark, brooding, creepy guy, which works very well for his character to not talk or move a lot. But it feels like she just should have moved better or had more expressions or something. She just looks so bad.
Well, and I think they were trying to go for really subtle acting. Like, they were really trying to capture, like, some famous actresses from the 1940s or something like that.
Yeah.
But it
didn't
comes across
work.
as really stiff and poorly animated compared to everything else that's surrounding her.
Yeah. It's like she's the only character that does this in the entire movie, which is why it doesn't work.
Yeah. Yeah, her animation was really bad. The animal animation is very slow. The pacing on all the movements is just so slow. And it's like, a lot of these animals are things like squirrels, mice, rats. Like, they move really fast.
Yeah, they move really fast, and yet we're having a chase sequence with a squirrel getting
sluggish.
Squirrel getting chased by a group of rats, and they're just kind of meandering along. It's like, what are you guys doing?
It's like all the animation on the animals was stuff that either an inexperienced team was doing, which is probably very likely, or it was people who were like, yeah, I know how a squirrel runs, and so they animate how they think a squirrel runs without looking at any reference.
Or very
footage.
little reference.
Yeah.
Both of which I feel is very possible and true. There was one character in this movie that just I did not like.
Let me take a lucky guess. Grayson?
Yeah, Grayson.
Grayson was awful. He was there to be some sort of, like,
Comic relief
and then also be like a parallel
to
/
Surly.
competition rival to Surly. But
It didn't work. And especially right at the beginning of the movie, he is
obnoxious.
unbearable.
Yeah.
Unbearable. To be perfectly honest, he gets better near the end, but only when he's specifically interacting with Surly alone. And then you get like this weird gay tension going on, and I'm totally okay with that. Yeah?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, honestly, like, Surly had more chemistry going on with Grayson and with Buddy than he did with Andy.
Oh yeah. It's like Surly is obviously a gay, grumpy old squirrel. And yet they try to get him to pair up with the female squirrel.
Right, which just has me like, ugh.
There is no chemistry
Please.
here.
Like, and I liked Andy just fine. I think she's probably the best written character in this movie.
There's no introduction to any of these characters. It's just like, hey, they're here, go.
Yeah.
Which is another issue.
Yeah, it's like, yet again, with establishing shots, this also has a really, like, the writing has just a bigger problem of establishing characters. Character motivations and all that are really bad. They're the raccoon turns
evil for really no reason, and then it turns out he's evil the whole time, but he didn't have to be.
He didn't have to be.
There was no reason for him to be evil.
It could have been much better if they just left him as he was.
Just some sort of like overly protective religious zealot type character, which is what he started the movie as, but no, it turns out he's an evil, manipulative, religious zealot man. It's like, no, like, they're the same character, you just didn't have to make him so evil.
Yeah, it's like, you could have the whole dynamic where Surly, you know, and Raccoon don't get along, and they just don't see eye to eye on things, but thanks to Surly being able to help them and all that kind of thing, you could have...
He begrudgingly agrees to let him back in. Yeah, it's like
these two kind of begrudgingly, you know, learn to trust each other.
But we needed a villain.
Yeah, like...
That's honestly what it feels like.
Yeah, this movie starts off feeling like it's gonna take the Bug's Life route, where it's like, Surly is like Flick, and, you know, it's like, oh, he makes all these inventions and stuff, except they also added like a he's an asshole twist to him. But then, like, the colony or the other forest animals learn that, you know, oh, well, his ways aren't so bad and we should just learn to accept him more how he is, and he's not gonna always be there for us, but that's just who he is, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then it just derails and turns into...
I'm Batman Bojack. I won't be part of the crew, but I'll still, like, help you out and stuff.
Right, and we're given no reason why
he switched.
Surly doesn't like the animals to begin with.
Yeah.
Why he's a loner.
And then why... I honestly feel... It's like, yeah, there's no reason for him to not want to be with the other characters, but then there's no reason for him to, after we spent the whole movie of him trying not to be with the other characters, to be okay with helping the other characters.
Right, like he doesn't...
There's no redeeming arc, he just suddenly kind of starts helping them for reasons.
Yeah, he doesn't have any connections with any of the other characters besides Andy, who we're supposed to have like this love thing go on with, but it really doesn't
work. Is well done or anything.
No. One of my other notes here is bad use of Buddy the rat being a silent character.
Yeah, he didn't need to be a silent character.
He didn't need to be a silent character, and then they break the silent character thing for him at the end, and they have him say something, but then, like, nobody's around to hear it, and it doesn't mean anything.
And it's not that
it's really
wakes
hollow.
Him up or anything.
Yeah.
Like, if...
It's just used as, like, a joke really quick.
Or like oh, he really does care. He's just like a silent guy or something. And he's also obviously very gay for this squirrel. Because, there's definitely a chemistry there of, like, a terrible abusive relationship.
Well, and when they do the thing where he's, like, putting his head down, like, on the side, it's like, oh, that was a nice little callback.
Yeah.
And you do get the idea, like, that these two have been through a lot together. But that's only coming through these little motions, which, you know, I do give props to the animators for that.
Because that actually was a good scene.
But the writing doesn't
help it. No, it does not. I just have a little note here that Liam Neeson, as an actor, can only play two characters. Horrendously bad people or horrendously good people.
It's not... No, never an in-between.
If he's in the movie, he's either God or the villain. There is like no in between on this guy.
Pick your poison. Okay, none of the voice actors besides Surly and Andy, I feel fit their voice
Yeah.
to the character. Like all the voice to
There was this really
animal.
weird thing where the only black person in the entire cast refers to the main character as Master. I wasn't okay with that.
Oh gosh. I don't even think about that because I just
Yeah, you don't recognize the voice as being but it's like, no, I recognize that voice and I know that the chick that played the dog was African American. It's like,
who is she?
I don't remember. Maybe we'll just stick it on
Okay,
screen.
wait. Is she
No?
Mittens in Bolt? Because she
Maybe.
kind of sounded like Mittens.
Maybe. I feel like it might just be a very similar voice.
Okay.
I don't know if it's the same person, but I know I've heard this chick in something else. Maybe multiple other things. But it's like, she just starts referring to the main character as Master, which obviously it's not
In that
because she's
context.
black, but it's
Yeah.
because she's a dog and that's what she does.
Yeah.
But I feel like that could have been thought about a little bit more before doing that.
It's like, maybe don't.
Yeah, maybe don't. It's like, and as far as I know, that was like the only black character in the entire movie, which makes it not as even
It makes
worse.
it like, maybe really, really don't.
Yeah. But again, I might be wrong. There might have been other random black characters in some of the other animals that were in the movie for like 3 seconds. But either way, it felt bad to me.
I think the characters in the main cast had decent character design. When you get to some of the like side characters and like random
Extra characters,
extra characters, like that's when it starts getting pretty bad.
But the main squirrels and like the raccoon, I guess. I really actually like the cardinal's design, how it looked like an Angry Bird.
yeah, but he also looked a little out of place compared to everybody else.
Yeah, because he was super exaggerated
yeah,
compared to all the others. And I feel like they actually made a straight up Angry Birds joke at the end of the movie.
I feel like yeah.
Yeah, because he like slingshots him off of the windshield wiper
Oh yeah.
and he flies off like an Angry Bird and then dies.
Except he doesn't.
No, he does. Oh, no, he doesn't.
he comes
God,
back.
that bird is indestructible. Just completely indestructible.
Also, that end scene was
Weird.
really unnecessary. Like, they have the raccoon. Like, this is after some of the credits play, and then they have this last little scene where the raccoon is out on this buoy out in the middle of the ocean, and his cardinal friend, like, flies up to him.
And then is about to leave. He's like, no, stay.
Yeah, please don't leave. And then
There's no more talking. And then just
it pans
Sharks show
out.
up.
There are sharks swimming around the buoy,
But
and
then
then
it
the
just
bird just
hangs for a really long
stays there.
time.
Like, you expect it to be a joke or like some kind of like last potent message that the bird leaves or whatever. And like the raccoon has no friends because he was an asshole
But
or something.
No, he
but
stays.
nothing happens.
He's
He
still
just
loyal
stays.
to the raccoon, which I mean is fair, but
But it just makes you feel bad because you're
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, so they're both gonna die out there now? Like,
it was a really confused extra scene. It's like I feel like it was supposed to be funny, but it wasn't. It was just kind of, oh, now I kind of feel bad.
yeah.
It's like, okay,
This movie doesn't leave you on a pleasant note.
no,
The movie does a big, like, fuck you to the audience right at the end because it starts having all the animals singing Gangnam Style. Which, like, I was okay with the movie up to that point, and then that started, and I'm just like...
So, speaking of Gundam Style, Gangnam Style plays twice in this movie.
Yes.
It plays once near the beginning of the movie,
Completely out of nowhere.
completely out of nowhere, because this is the only pop song in the entire movie. It's like the only song in the entire movie.
Yeah, it's like the only time the movie has a score
Yeah.
to speak of.
Other than that, it's just like environmental-ish music, kind of,
Yeah.
if it shows up. but just out of nowhere, Psy starts blasting, and like, what is going on? Mm-hmm. And then it plays again during the credits where they animated Psy dancing to it, and then they get all the other models and stuff doing it. And I kind of enjoy Gundam style.
Oh, same.
But the problem is, I was in a really bad spot in my life when that song came out, so it's kind of a traumatic song for me.
Oh.
So it wasn't cool of it to just show up in this movie. I was not prepared.
Well, that's not the movie's fault.
No, it's not the movie's fault, but it's like,
This brings back memories.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. That's kind of my thoughts on the movie.
I want to go back to Raccoon's plan real quick.
Yeah.
Because this is really stupid.
Okay, yes.
This is really, really stupid. I don't want to let the movie get away with this.
All right.
Okay, so Raccoon's plan is to keep the animals in the park starving because that keeps them under control.
Yes.
However, that's cool and all, but you literally just lost all of your food at the beginning of this movie.
Mm-hmm.
So you can still starve the animals, but you kind of need this nut job heist to
go off
to
in
go
the first
through.
place.
Otherwise, you're all dead, including, yes, you, Raccoon. And they even have a shot, like a scene earlier in the film where they're showing, like, oh, Raccoon has this hoard of shiny stuff.
Mm-hmm.
None of the stuff in his hoard is food. It's just crap that Raccoon has.
Mostly coins and shit like that.
Yeah, so bad.
It's like, if you wanted to show that he actually was hoarding food for himself, show that.
Show that. But he's not. He just has stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the whole dog whistle thing is really stupid. They have a dog whistle so that they can take control of the dog that is in the shop to, like, help them out and all that stuff. But then there's this other character, a human guy, who is also affected when you blow the dog whistle. And from what I can tell, this is only done for laughs, even though none of these jokes are funny.
Mm-hmm.
And then also they use it so that at the end, Surly can blow the whistle, and then that makes the guy fall, because he's like, dog whistle, and then he, like, goes into a spasm and falls into the river.
At least they established it.
I guess. But that's real, like, just piss poor writing. Like, this whole movie, the writing is probably the weakest point, because, like, the dialogue was really bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just character arcs and tying together themes, and like we were talking about before, the establishing shots and establishing characters and all that is really poorly done. I hope to see it get better when we watch Nut Job 2.
Later this week.
But I'm not holding my breath.
Yup.
Because from what I can tell from the trailers, Nut Job 2 has, like, nothing to do with
The first one?
the first one.
Yeah, it actually, just thinking about that trailer again, I think it looks worse. Much worse.
So,
But again, who knows? You might by the time you watch this. So, do you have any final thoughts?
like I said, I would not recommend this movie to anyone. I wouldn't want to watch it again, but I don't think it was horrible.
Yes. I would not put this on my worst animated list, animated movies of all time or anything.
Yeah, I just think it was a project done by people who just weren't quite prepared to tell a feature-length story.
Yep.
And that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
It getting a huge theatrical release, not so fine. But hey,
Who knows?
the studio has to make money somehow, and people
Yep.
gotta work, so
All right.
here's to Nut Job 2.
Yep. Now, hold on to your butts. We'll be right back with our review of Nut Job 2.
Do do ba do. And welcome back from that interlude.
We are now back a few days later, and we have watched The Nut Job 2 just now. It got worse.
Yeah. There are a few things done better.
Yeah.
But overall, I would say that this movie is worse than the first one. Probably not too surprising if you've seen a trailer for this movie.
Yeah. It suffers from the whole, we weren't expecting to get a sequel to this movie, so we had absolutely nowhere for our cast and characters to go after the first one, so home destroyed plot?
Basic Fern Gully, every B animated movie you've ever seen before plot.
We gotta protect our homes.
Also a bunch, like, there's so many plot threads in this movie that go nowhere.
Absolutely nowhere.
Yeah.
They dropped... I'm both happy and sad that they dropped Grayson.
Yeah. I was
'Cause-
excited to see him come back, and he wasn't in here.
Yeah, no, he's gone.
Well,
They don't explain where he went. He just doesn't exist anymore.
apparently, most people agreed with us that he was really annoying. Or the actor didn't come back.
Could be very easily be both.
Yeah.
So, seeing as Grayson could not be in this movie, Surly absorbed his essence and is
Yeah.
now Surly Grayson.
Your ship came true.
God damn it.
Although, speaking of ships, Precious.
Yeah, there's another bulldog. Or
Pug-ish.
pug-ish.
No, he's more like a French...
Bulldog?
French bulldog, yeah.
Yeah. He's another one of those smush-faced dogs. That's all those dogs would really be doing.
Yeah.
I'm sorry that they exist.
Mm-hmm. But there's another dog that comes in this movie, so of course
There's a dumb
Precious
plot.
and Frankie,
Frankie.
you know, have this like romantic subplot that
Non-existent subplot that means they're going to have puppies by the end of the movie.
Yeah,
Oh, look,
although,
they had puppies.
honestly, like, they probably had the most believable arc, like the best written part of the movie, even though it's just so contrived.
Incredibly contrived, and it takes all of 3 scenes.
Yeah, there's like, but I mean, like, 3
They
scenes.
meet.
They have setup, problem, conclusion,
And then puppies.
and then puppies.
Oh yeah, I guess we should... Are we going to do spoilers for this review? Is there spoilers for this review?
Not really.
Okay, we're not going to bother about doing spoilers or not spoilers.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know, there's nothing to spoil.
Yeah.
Oh look, the obvious villain who says he's a villain immediately is the villain.
Mm-hmm.
Jackie Chan didn't want to be in this movie. What other non-spoilers can we tell you?
Surly and Andy get together.
Yeah, even though... yeah.
Okay, so this movie doesn't...
Decides that the first movie
Doesn't
and how
exist.
it wrapped up doesn't matter. We're going to
Yeah, like,
change everything.
The last 5 minutes, or no, like 15 minutes of the Nut Job
Don't
didn't happen.
Didn't happen. Don't matter. Instead, at the end of the other movie, the Nut Shop was now under new management under poorly animated lady.
Lana, whatever.
Lana. Now it's...
Apparently she died.
She died or left or something, because it's now an abandoned shop with just enough nuts for everyone to live there forever and be lazy assholes.
Mm-hmm.
So they do that.
Yeah, this movie starts off with a side plot that goes nowhere.
Because 5 minutes in, the place explodes.
Yeah, like, they set it up so it's like, oh, you know, a few months ago, the person from the nut shop abandoned it and just left all the nuts there. So now we have enough food for forever. And, you know, they set it up like it's gonna be this story about how Andy wants the animals to live like they should out in the woods, which
is dumb.
And then, Surly and everyone else is like, no, why would we give up this nut shop, Andy? That's dumb, which it is. She's being dumb.
Yeah.
Like, she could have at least brought up the point of, like, you might think these nuts will last forever, but they won't. Yeah, it's like, what happens when we run out? We should be, like, storing these for winter, living in the park, and then during the winter we go into this abandoned nut shop and we just
have nuts.
Yeah, like there's an obvious solution here.
But no, they just had to blow up the nut shop, and then the evil mayor, who's obviously evil and like corrupt as all hell, obviously because he's a politician.
Screw these kinds of characters. I hate these tropes. Like, nobody wants...
fucking straw man.
No one wants to see these kinds of characters. This one's really obnoxious and super in your face. And then he's got this,
So that Girl Scout from the first movie who had, like, 2 lines?
I think it's a different character.
No, it's supposed to be the same character.
Yeah?
What other small, pudgy, red-headed, angry girl would exist in this universe?
Dude, like, they barely acknowledge that the first movie even happened.
Yeah, which is why I think they just, like, I don't know, we could use that character and just change her.
It's the same character, but they, like, reskinned her slightly.
Yeah. Anyways, he's got a daughter who's terrible, and, she's same like, basic trope.
Well, she's like, what's her name? From Animaniacs.
I've never seen Animaniacs.
Oh, this is why we're doing Animation Pilgrimage. But you have to have... Elmira! I think that's her name. Elmira. And she loves the animals, but she loves them so hard she kills them, kind of thing.
Okay, that sounds vaguely familiar.
She's got the red hair and usually, like, a skull on her belt and, like, in her pigtails.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is another character you've seen a million times where it's this terrible little child who torments her toys and animals and is an obnoxious brat, and it's awful. So, of course...
Yet again, very obnoxious. Like I said, it's like Elmira, but without any of the charm. Like, just dreadful. Like, the other characters react to her and they're like, ugh, like, I guess this is what they mean by seeing the warning signs or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, I feel the same way these characters are feeling, and it's not amusing. I don't want this on the screen. Get it off, please.
This is not an enjoyable villain.
No.
In any way.
Yet again, just like another straw man-esque kind of character.
Yeah.
Not enjoyable. No one likes these kinds of characters. No one even likes seeing these kinds of characters in pain because you just still have to be around them.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of other straw man villains, the environmental guy who's like, oh, we're gonna totally catch the animals humanely, and then the mayor's like, I don't care about that, and he's like, cool, now I'm just gonna be super evil for no reason.
Uh-huh.
And he's got a whole troop of people in gas masks and shit, which is all obviously the same model.
Yeah, he's like... And he literally is, too. He's, like, literally from, like, the Humane Society or something like that. Mm-hmm. And then he's like, oh, cool, you want me to kill the animals? Well, then screw my nice traps or whatever.
Yeah, it's
Let me get my gun.
What are you implying?
And these are all, like, little park animals.
Yeah. It's like, what are you guys implying with this? Are you, like...
They're not smart enough to imply something here. Although, holy hell, did you see that frickin' peanut sponsorship?
No.
The part where Buddy has, like, this huge can of, like, candied nuts or whatever, and he, like, walks right in front of the screen, and it's, like, the logo's right there.
Oh, I guess I saw that he was carrying that can of some sort of nut, but I didn't actually look at what it was.
Mm-hmm.
Was it some name brand?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. It was, like, on screen for a good, like, 15 seconds.
Oh, speaking of Buddy, we get a backstory for how Buddy and Surly meet. They met in the movie Tornado, which is like a shitty 90s?
Yeah,
80s, 90s? Whenever the natural disaster movies were like the big thing, there was one about Twister. Twister was the name of the movie, where they survive at the end of the movie by tying themselves to a random shitty pipe. So how do they survive in this flashback? They hold on to some random shitty pipe.
And Buddy ties his tail
Around Surly, baby Surly.
Which, those models were really ugly.
Yeah, they did not look good.
No.
I'm glad they were on screen for not very long.
By the time the movie reached that point where it is, like, this is quite a ways into the movie. And this
Like, this
movie
is
felt
like-
long and took so many detours.
Yeah, I would say we're already to the point where we're almost at the climax. And it's like, now we gotta, like, take 10 minutes and go into backstory for no reason.
Yeah, he's just like, when I met Buddy, and it's like, he goes back
It's like,
in
are you
time.
serious? Are we doing this right now?
I just turned to Sean, I'm like, what is going on right now? What is happening?
This movie had lots of issues.
Padding.
Yeah, lots of padding. Jackie Chan plays a white mouse.
Mm-hmm.
A kung fu mouse, because of course it is.
Yeah. And, like, every plot thread in this film makes no sense. Okay, I already talked about the first plot thread, about the whole nut shack and the, you know,
Yes.
like, easy problem to solve right there. Don't even have to think that hard about it. Also, take care of the goddamn shop.
The shop is moved. Boom, there, it's done.
Right.
Whatever. Just don't worry about it.
Next plot thread. The mayor is like, every single inch of this town is making me money.
No, it's not.
What about the nut shop we were just in? That's
Not making you money.
decommissioned.
Yeah.
Like, his whole thing is like, this whole town is making me money because I collect on taxpayers or whatever. But A, we just spent the first part of the movie in the shack that they want to make very clear to you is abandoned and not making money.
And then explodes.
And so what I thought was going to happen is he's going to be like, accept that building right there.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, and then he would, like, close it down, and then that would give the animals more reason to dislike this guy. Like, still dumb, but, you know, at least these two things are connected.
Mm-hmm.
But instead, he's like, this whole town's making me money, except that stupid park. And I'm like, parks do good things for cities? But whatever, okay, sure, whatever.
They let
Ignore
people
it.
not go fucking insane?
Ignore the fact that, like, you can host, like, festivals in a park. You have people who, you know, in the movie roll their trolleys through the park and sell things, you know. But fine,
Whatever,
ignore
it's
that.
gotta become a carnival now.
Yeah, so he's like, I'm gonna build a carnival there, and that'll make me money. Except I'm gonna do the most ass-backward job of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna make the shittiest park because I'm a rich snob and I don't want to waste my money on this. Except, dude, if you do that,
If you understood
You're
how
going-
money works,
you're going to lose money on this thing because no one's gonna go to it.
yeah, and we'll go to it once and then never come back. Do you not understand how
This is the worst get-rich-quick scheme I've ever heard, and this is coming from someone who's already rich.
Yeah. It's like, dude, you're an idiot. But, I mean, that's the character.
And then there's another whole subplot where Andy and half the other animals are like, well, we've got to find a new home because they've dug up our park, so we gotta find somewhere else to live. We'll go to the other park that's across town. I'm like, okay, that's a sensible thing to do.
Yeah.
So they go, and it turns out that that park was turned into a golf course by the rich guy however many years ago. They kind of set it up early in the movie. But they go there, and they're like, oh, look, and there's no other animals here. And at first they think it's like this utopia park or whatever. And then these golfers come in and they immediately screw everything up because, like, they're on the golf course and they took the golf ball. And, like, the only reason this was a problem is because they were in the way. Like, you guys still could have lived in the golf course. Animals live in golf courses.
Yeah. I just want to say another thing is that apparently if you're a bad person, you drive like an asshole and destroy everything.
Not even a bad person. Apparently everyone just drives like a maniac.
Yeah, everyone in this movie just drives like a fucking maniac. They're like all over the road, on the sidewalks. In a golf cart, they're tearing up the golf course somehow.
If you took a shot every time someone
Was careening around in a vehicle.
or a vehicle flipped over, you would be dead by the end of this movie.
Yeah.
I don't even think I'm exaggerating. These kinds of, like, this kind of thing happens all the time.
The whole movie.
Like, there's probably not a 10-minute segment where somebody isn't rampaging around like they're in Crazy Taxi.
Except the taxis. The taxis are the calmest drivers in this entire movie.
True.
Ah!
Now, like I said, this movie is, like, not considerably more worse than the first movie, but it is worse.
Yeah.
However, there are a couple of things that they did improve on.
Yes.
So,
For example, the animation as a whole just looks better. It's better done. It is way over the top pretty much all the time, though.
yeah, the animation has gone from being underperformed and looking unpolished to overacting, but okay. You know,
Yeah.
like, it's passable. There were a couple of scenes, especially there at the credits, where we're pretty sure it was mocapped, which is just bizarre.
Oh, yeah, it was like if it would look like it was straight up just mocap for the credits, which this time they didn't actually put in some random wildly popular song at the time.
Yeah.
No, this time they invented their own song.
I mean, who knows? Maybe this is a pop song and we just don't know about it.
I mean, it's a terrible pop song if it is. It's
Hashtag perfect day.
Yeah, no, it's just about as bad as you can expect the name of song being called hashtag perfect day.
Could be. Yeah. Ugh. But another thing about the animation, the animal animation was a lot better in this movie. Run cycles and
They
stuff like
actually
that.
looked more and acted more like animals. They weren't so sluggish.
Yeah, they weren't so sluggish and slow. Yet again, that could partly be thanks to the overacting of this movie.
Yeah. Another thing that might be thanks to is the fact that it took 10 companies to make this movie.
Yeah.
10 of them.
We were waiting for the movie to start, and it was just logo after logo after logo, and I'm like, there's another one. And there's another one. And look, another one.
10 companies. Sure, one might have been like the sound company or something, but 10 companies. That's too many companies. If you look at like other big studio companies making movies, it's like, I don't know, you'll have like 3 maybe, possibly 4.
Yeah. I mean, okay. I have a feeling about this movie.
Okay.
And I could be wrong,
Okay.
but considering how many studios worked on this, how many times we saw the word Canada in the credits,
Okay.
I get a feeling that the original people who did the first movie, where it was like co-done in South Korea.
Mm-hmm.
Get a feeling they weren't much of a part of this one.
It's very possible that they just like sold it off.
I get the feeling they sold it off. Someone in Canada bought it for dirt cheap. Bought the property for dirt cheap.
I could see that.
Made a sequel for brand recognition. Put a bunch of sponsorship in this. Sent it to theaters. They are probably, even if they are, like, they're probably not counting on making a whole lot with this movie, but with the way animated kids films just generate cash in the US, they're probably going to make bank off of this, having put nothing into it. Because that kind of thing is very common. That's where a lot of these bad movies come from. Your Norm of the North and all those kinds of things.
Emoji movies.
No, Emoji Movie was made by Sony.
Is a different version of corporate money grabbing.
Yeah, but this is more of the, we're gonna do a whole little looped around, fart out a project, and then
make money off of it.
Make bank, yeah.
It's kind of like the concept of, like, the producers. You make something...
Right, exactly.
You make a really shitty movie, but make a lot of money off of it, and never...
Acknowledge it again.
Acknowledge it again, or yeah.
Yep. I mean, I could be totally wrong, but I feel like I'm on the nose with something.
And I'm pretty sure
here.
nobody wanted to be a part of this movie. Like, the reason I know Jackie Chan didn't care about this movie at all is for
they
sure.
Had the audacity.
They had the audacity during the credits to show, like, extra scene, like, they did, like, the stupid spoof thing where, like, they're doing multiple takes or something.
Yeah, they did, like, outtakes.
With Jackie Chan's lines.
And then they showed him in the recording booth.
Actually showed him in the recording booth, which at the end he got visibly angry and frustrated, picked up his script and tossed it into the camera and turned around and started to walk away. And then the cut. It's like, why did you show that?
I mean, it's supposed to look like he's like, wow, he's really into his character and stuff.
But no, it's very obvious that he did not care enough. He's like,
this is stupid.
This is stupid. Why am I doing this? I mean, obviously I'm doing it because of the paycheck, but goddamn, am I sick
of being cast in these roles.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to speak for Mr. Chan, but
I can assume he didn't care much at all for this movie.
Yeah. Neither did any of the other voice actors.
Yeah. Even like, in the first movie, you could tell that some of the people actually were caring and putting some effort into it. Nobody put any effort into it this time.
Yeah.
Like,
yet again, I think probably one of the better performances is whoever's playing Precious. I think they did a good job.
Yeah, I think she did a good job again.
Although I have no idea why she's in this movie.
Yeah.
Which, I'm headcanon time, film theory, Lana died because that's the only way Precious stayed in that shop.
I'm assuming that Lana was running the nut shop one day, and then all the animals were there, and
they just killed her.
Yeah, they either killed her or she tried to get rid of them and accidentally died in some...
She, slipped, fell, hit her head.
So they just buried her body in the now non-existent tunnel to the bank.
Yeah. And they're like, whoops, guess the nut shop's abandoned.
I like this headcanon. Or she just underacted so much that she just stopped moving altogether.
The real death of an animation.
Oh no. Oh, we're getting too real.
That's deep, man.
Okay, so... final thoughts?
Shock and surprise, this movie was bad.
This movie was bad. I would not say go see it in theaters.
Oh, absolutely not.
If down the line you want to watch this with friends after it comes out on DVD or something for a laugh, Sure.
I'm sure it'll be on Netflix at some point.
Oh yeah, it'll be streaming somewhere. Sure, give it a watch then. But I would not suggest go give people money in the theaters for this.
No. There was a couple of other nice things I wanted to point. Oh, and we gotta talk about that end scene.
Oh yeah. Yeah, okay. So
Wait. First
the nice animation of the one.
Yeah. There's two things I want to praise the movie for. They recap the first movie really quick at the beginning with some like this neat little special effect where Surly's like hopping around, and like where he hops,
It glows.
the ground
Just appears and glows.
And like that was really cool, a really cool artistic idea. It had no reason being in this movie.
Yeah.
Like, it didn't fit with the tone of the movie. It was just kind of off.
It was weird.
It was weird, but a cool idea, so, you know, props. Just use that in a different movie.
Mm-hmm.
Second thing, there was one really funny scene in this movie. And it's the only thing that made us laugh.
Of course, at the very end of the movie, there's a big old powwow of all the animals taking down this carnival and shit.
Yeah,
and,
third act fight scene.
Of course.
And Jackie Chan and all his mice army buddies
get inside one of these hazmat suits from the exterminator guys, and so it's like this half-deflated body that's wibbling around and beating the ever-living shit out of other people and like contorting in terrible ways, and it's like, this is terribly disturbing but also so fun to look at.
Right, like, we've seen this kind of thing before, but they did a great job animating this one part.
It's like, good job, guys. You made this look absolutely disturbing.
Like, they're doing like, karate moves, like, in the suit, and, like, there's one part
where the body hole bends over backwards.
Yeah, they do that, and then another part where it's like, they shoot the fist. They like, hi-ya! And, like, they shoot the fist out, and you can see all the mice are still, like, in the fist, and they, like, make a fist and like bam against another guy, and then like they crawl back and
reattach and stuff.
Yeah, and the mice in the arm like grab the hand and like bring it back in.
And like at one point somebody else was going to like punch the face, so the whole head just like warps out of the way in a really like ugh.
Well, yeah, and then it all ends with it just being kind of like this top-down shot,
and it like collapses and crumples, and all the white fluffs fly away.
It's like, it's like really fast.
Oh,
that's satisfying.
Very well done. Creepy to look at. I liked it. It was really good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
So
claps for that one scene.
Yeah. One last thing. You know how at the end of the first movie...
It's a good thing. I mean, we always stick around.
Till the very end, because people did make this movie and we went to see it, so we might as well acknowledge the credits of who worked on it.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the first movie, we mentioned that the raccoon, Liam Neeson raccoon, and the cardinal were out on this buoy in the bay for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
They had nothing to do with this movie.
Weren't in it at all.
Not at all. So who do you expect to show up at the very, very end of the credits other than Liam Neeson raccoon on the buoy? Doesn't say anything because they obviously couldn't get Liam Neeson back. Cardinal doesn't exist anymore, so we gotta assume that
Liam Neeson ate him.
Liam Neeson ate him. And then he just jumps into the water and starts swimming towards the mainland, and a couple of sharks come up and start following him. What was the point of that scene?
It's like, nice callback?
Are you implying that there's going to be a third one with the Revenge of the Raccoon? 'Cause God, I don't want to see that.
Revenge of the Raccoon.
He's coming for you. He's a very particular set of skills. Again, Liam Neeson. Really good guy or really bad guy?
It's like the credits were done, we're like, alright, we can leave. And then that pops up and we're like, what?
Why is this here? Okay, now here at the very end of the review.
I guess
Trailers?
this is my final thoughts for the film. remember how I said for the first movie, I heard a lot of reviewers say that they found the first one just really cynical and kind of mean-spirited and all that. And I kind of get it for the first film. I really felt it for this film.
Yeah.
This film was really cynical.
I voted for you.
And mean-spirited.
Yeah. It's like the mayor straight up hits somebody on the road and the guy is like, I voted for you. And he's like, nice, whatever, get off my car.
Yeah, he like windshield wipers him off. And
it's like,
and then there's other jabs
like
where it's like Andy starts singing and then everyone starts making fun of her for
it's like, no,
singing.
we're not singing. That's dumb and stupid.
Yeah.
And shit like that. And
it's not even played... Like, it is played as a joke, but it's played as a very mean-spirited joke. It's not played as like, whoa, wait, what are you doing? Like they're confused. They're just being like, this sucks, stop.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, that was the nut job too.
Mm-hmm.
Trailers.
We saw a new trailer for Ninjago, which surprises me because our theater never gets new trailers. They only ever play the teaser up until the point where the movie has been out of theaters for like 5 weeks. Or in the case of Lego Batman, 5 months later. But anyways, so yeah, we got a new trailer for that. It seemed like a more fleshed out trailer, which is good, and I enjoyed what I saw, and I'm happy that we'll be able to see that soon, because I'm pretty sure that's our next movie in like a month.
Yeah, I think it comes out on the 22nd of September, so...
Yes. And
so that's about a month away.
Yeah, and then 2 weeks after that, we got a trailer for the next movie we're going to be seeing.
The My Little Pony movie.
Yeah, so...
Does it have a name other than My Little Pony?
My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, the movie.
That's it?
The movie.
Okay. I mean, there's been several My Little Pony movies at
but
this
that's
point.
why it's My Little Pony Friendship is Magic,
the movie.
Because Friendship is Magic is the defining feature of this universe as compared to any of the old pony stuff.
Any of the old ponies, or like Equestria Girls, or any of that other stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It looks like My Little Pony. I watched like the first 4-ish seasons.
I'm excited for this movie because it's probably going to be more enjoyable for us, having both enjoyed the show in the past.
And it's just going to be a fresh palette compared to most of the crap we've seen this year.
Yeah.
Even if this movie sucks, it's like, I don't know.
At least it sucks with characters we like.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I will say there are things that already I don't like about it and already look really unpolished, considering that it's going to be a theatrically released movie.
Mm-hmm.
The shading, like, I've seen the trailer multiple times now. The shading still looks bad to me every single time. They've just kind of got like this filter effect as a shader instead of actually going in and shading them.
Yeah, and it looks really weird.
It looks really lazy.
Really lazy and off-putting after you've seen the show.
Yeah. And then the CG effects are horrible.
Yeah.
Like where they have a shot where like you can see like this ship come in, this airship fly in, and
CG
it looks
clouds.
it
Like,
looks really bad. I also I know they were doing this for the trailer, but I hope Pinkie Pie isn't in as much of the movie. It doesn't have as many one-liners.
God damn, she had like
she did in this trailer.
700 one-liners in this one trailer. It's like, that's cool, shut up.
All right, Pinkie.
Her
Chill.
and like the random villain
Fat guy.
Your generic villain fat guy sidekick character.
Yeah.
Had
henchman.
Henchman dude had like 300 one-liners as well.
Mm-hmm.
In this
Which
tiny
you know
trailer.
they're doing that to like play it up for the trailer, but you also know like, well, I mean that's still in the movie, so
great. Oh, and of course when they do like the rundown of all the voice actors playing all these like famous voice actors playing these random characters that you don't know who they are.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember the name of the voice actor, but I know there's this random, like, dapper cat guy that just gives, like, the fuck face.
He has, like, the Nala eyes.
Just like, you'd fuck me. You know you would. Type of thing. It's like, I like that. I want to see this man.
It's like, well, you got me. Got me sold. Take my money.
Here's my pants. And then, of course, we saw another trailer for Coco.
Same trailer.
I mean...
We see this trailer saw this trailer so many times this year.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, we get it. Can we get another trailer for this movie now?
It's fine. It's fine. Was there a trailer for anything else?
No, I think it was just the 3.
Just the 3. Yeah, because this year we've still got...
Those 3
movies, Ferdinand
the Bull, and I don't know, maybe one other that we're not thinking of, but...
Maybe.
I mean...
I'm surprised we didn't see a Ferdinand trailer, because we've seen Ferdinand trailers in the theater already.
Not at this theater.
Oh, was that when we saw Captain Underpants and we had to go to the other theater? Okay.
So,
well, there you have it.
Yep, that was our review of 2 movies.
When they finally release Coco, we'll probably get a trailer for Wreck-It Ralph 2.
Oh, yeah.
So that's exciting.
That is exciting.
Yeah. All right, anyway.
Yep.
That wraps that up.
That's it. Now we've talked about lots of nuts.
Yep.
Nut puns. Sigh. Hashtag perfect day.
Squirrel power. Woo.
Oh. We're done here. You can leave.